Right now on Up with KREM, masks, vaccines, and mandates as COVID cases rise.
We are going to keep saving lives by using the effective tools that are at our disposal.
This morning, local reaction to Governor Inslee's new guidelines.
COVID boosters officially recommended for everyone, the science behind them, and when the third round of shots will start.
Good air quality and warm temperatures. We're back up in the 80s today, but the chance of showers returns tomorrow. We're going to talk your best odds of getting some much needed rain.
Up with KREM begins now with Tim Pham, Channing Curtis, and Jeremy Legoo.
We want to get right to breaking news. The man suspected of murdering a Spirit Lake woman was arrested overnight.
Now, so many of you reached out to us about this investigation. The Benoit County Sheriff's Office arrested John Dalton Jr. in St. Mary's, Idaho yesterday evening. Dalton is being booked into the Kootenai County Detention Center for the murder of Tina Swore.
The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office says the community really played a big role in finding Dalton. Well, good morning and welcome to Up with KREM. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Channing Curtis. Well, let's go ahead and get right to our top stories of this morning.
Yeah, up first, Washington Governor Jay Inslee issuing new COVID-19 guidelines. And to help break them down, we do have team coverage this morning.
That's right. Now, this morning, of course, Tim and I are in this KREM 2 studio talking about the strict vaccine policy for teachers all over the state.
We also have meteorologist Jeremy Legoo in the Outdoor Weather Center letting us know if this cooler weather will stick around.
But first, we want to check in with Nicole Hernandez. She's actually live right now and letting us know when Washington's indoor mask mandate will be returning. Good morning, Nicole.
Yeah, good morning, Channing, Tim. So this mandate is starting up here on Monday, so in just a few days. But we want to go over the three big things that you should take away from this new mandate. So one, this is a statewide mandate. This is something that the entire state of Washington is following now. Two, everyone 5 and older has to wear a mask inside whenever they're in public. You also have to wear a mask regardless of your vaccination status. And then three, like I mentioned, this mandate starts this coming Monday. There are some spaces where the state's masking mandate will not apply. They include office spaces that will not be easily accessed by the public, places where people work alone with no public interaction, and small private gatherings where all attendees are vaccinated. The mandates follow weeks of escalating COVID-19 cases rising, increasing hospitalization. Health experts say the increase is caused by the Delta variant of the coronavirus. KREM talked with a local business about the announcement, and they remain supportive of whatever steps it takes to keep the community healthy.
It's not much of a surprise, but I think we're ready. We've been wearing masks, all of our employees. Might be a little different for the customers, but we're ready.
Why are you ready?
We just want to do anything we can to keep our customers and our staff safe and just hopefully nip this in the bud and protect the businesses too.
Now, Boo Radley's manager says during the last mask mandate, customers were mostly compliant. They did, though, still have occasional times where they had to remind people to wear their masks. And while this isn't part of the actual mandate, the Department of Health is also recommending that people wear their masks when they're in outdoor settings that are particularly crowded. So wearing your masks in places like concerts or fairs. Live in Spokane, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
Now, after Governor Inslee's announcement yesterday, so many parents actually took to the streets across the state to protest these new mandates.
Yeah, so in Spokane, a protest was held near Lewis and Clark High School where parents voiced their concerns.
You know, if Inslee has this wrong and I get vaccinated, I'm only hurt for maybe 20 years. But one of my sons could suffer with the consequences of his poor decisions for 70 years.
Other parents have also been expressing their support for the mandates, saying they don't understand why so many people are opposed.
Anything to keep them in school, I think that we should promote, and masks work. Being vaccinated works. My child understands what's required of him, and it's not that hard to do.
State Superintendent of Public Instruction Chris Reykdal says the vaccine and mask requirements are the best way to ensure that schools stay open this fall. Students are not required to be vaccinated under the new mask mandates.
So now the question is, who exactly will be enforcing these requirements? Governor Inslee says his proclamation is a legally binding document.
Yeah, so employers and business owners have no choice but to comply, and that includes following the indoor mask mandate and the vaccine requirement where it applies. The governor says being fully vaccinated is a job requirement for most state employees.
A formal discharge process will start October 5th. The governor is also saying that the vast majority of anyone let go will not be eligible for unemployment benefits.
The other big announcement from the governor's office, of course, is about vaccines.
That's right, a vaccine mandate for almost all K-12 and higher education employees.
This week, our state broke its previous record for COVID hospitalizations set in December. The rate is, as I said, spectacularly almost vertical in our charts. We're witnessing exponential growth. I've not used that term in some months, but regrettably, that is now the situation that we are in.
The vaccine mandate will not apply to students, as younger students are not eligible for the vaccine quite yet. Educational employees must be fully vaccinated by October 18th.
Now, a vaccine mandate is already in effect for most state employees as well as healthcare workers. Governor Inslee is emphasizing that this requirement will be enforced harshly, saying get a vaccine or you'll be fired.
There will be a process that will involve days, not months, where if people do not come in compliance, that they will be discharged. And that will apply to all the personnel that are associated with this protocol, be they state employees or in the K-12 or college system. And there will be a formal process of their discharge.
Well, this comes after State Superintendent Chris Reykdal asked Inslee last week to include K-12 schools in the vaccine mandate. There still are some medical and religious exemptions. This mandate also applies to people like substitute teachers, coaches, volunteers, and more.
Now, Governor Inslee also said unions can negotiate to get their employees time off to get the vaccine as well as deal with side effects. Inslee says a testing option will not be allowed for those who do not want to get vaccinated.
Meanwhile, President Biden announcing nursing home staff will be required to be vaccinated against COVID-19.
Now, this will be a requirement for those facilities to continue receiving federal Medicare and Medicaid funding.
With this announcement, I'm using the power of the federal government as a payer of health care costs to ensure we reduce those risks to our most vulnerable seniors. These steps are all about keeping people safe and out of harm's way.
Starting September 20th, pending approval from the FDA, booster shots will be offered to people who receive the Moderna or Pfizer vaccines, as long as 8 months have passed since their second dose.
Now, we know this was a lot of information that we just gave you right there, so we're making it easy for you to get all of this.
That's right. You can always go to KREM.com or text the word COVID to 509-448-2000, and we'll send a link right to your phone. All right, 6:07 now. Let's get outside to meteorologist Jeremy Legoo in the Outdoor Weather Center, because my goodness, it just feels wonderful outside. About 54 degrees.
Ooh, feels nice.
And yeah, just wonderful. And it was wonderful last night too, Jeremy.
Yeah, you're welcome. Basically, you know, I get to control the weather every now and then. So, yeah, you're welcome. Early on this morning, we do sit in the low 50s, just as Tim mentioned. It is a somewhat cooler start to the day, and no, I have nothing to do with what happens in the world of weather. I only get to tell you about it, so just so we can clear that one up. Right now, air quality sits at good. We're at 43 in the AQI, or air quality index, and if I look around, I can actually see some of that wildfire smoke in just about every direction here from the top of South Hill. So as we look around, it's likely that we dip into moderate later on today as that smoke starts to spread out. Temperatures are on the cool side this morning. How about Sandpoint in the mid 40s? From Deer Park, Newport, Sandpoint, you guys are all in the mid 40s early on this morning. You're driving along Interstate 90, really from Moses Lake all the way through Coeur d'Alene. It's mid 50s. 67 though in Wenatchee early on today. And not really any cloud cover, a little bit of cloud cover, not any moisture later on today. Some forecast models are saying there will be moisture. I don't really want to worry about that. What I want to worry about is this. It's tomorrow's moisture, which looks like it'll be much more prominent, kind of late Friday through the night and into Saturday. Could see some rumbles of thunder, could get some much needed rain. Oh, that would be nice. That's as a cold front kind of moves through the region. Doesn't really do much in terms of temperatures. Relatively. We saw a 20-degree drop earlier this week. This drop, as this next front moves through, really only going to be about 9 or 10 degrees, so not as bad. But today, a beautiful day, about as seasonable as it gets. Average high, low 80s. We'll be in the low 80s. Average low, mid 50s. That's where we sit now, so enjoy it. This is what August is supposed to be like.
With new evidence that vaccines lose effectiveness over time and the Delta variant raging, federal health officials are recommending COVID-19 booster doses for everyone who's fully vaccinated starting on September 20th. Now, this, of course, all pending approval from the FDA. The shots will be offered to the public. So here's what we know so far. If the FDA authorizes the boosters, you would get the shot 8 months after your second dose. Now, this is only recommended for the 2-shot Moderna and Pfizer vaccines. A booster plan is still being developed for recipients of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Health experts stress the importance of getting immunized.
You don't want to find yourself behind playing catch up. Better stay ahead of it than chasing after it.
At the end of the day, is it going to be harmful? No. Is it going to be effective? Possibly, but probably more effective in some groups.
The U.S. Surgeon General says the 8 months timeline is a judgment call. He also said the timeline might change based on the direction of the current data.
Well, the Spokane Police Department is releasing new body camera footage of 3 different shootings from last year. Coming up on Up with KREM, why the prosecutor determined the officers were justified in their use of force.
And we're going to take you back outside, talk air quality, temperatures on the rise, and what you can expect as we head through this Friday Eve. That's right, it's Friday Eve, also known as Thursday. We've got your forecast.